Have you ever stopped to think about the fans behind a band? What is it about the music that keeps fans coming back for more? Or is there more? My name is Renae Lipsmeyer, and I am the host of this podcast, The Space Between Podcast, the podcast where we talk about the fans of the Dave Matthews Band. Each week, a fellow DMB fan joins the show to discuss their journey with the band. Welcome to the Space Between Podcast. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Space Between Podcast, the podcast where we're going to talk about one band and the fans that are behind this band. If you've never listened to this podcast before, this podcast is about the fans of a band that started in 1991 in Charlottesville, Virginia. I'll give you a second to guess who it is. I can't hear you anyways, but it's Dave Matthews Band. They are celebrating 35 years of making music this year in 2026, and I'm so thankful to be here to see all of this happen. It's been a magical ride. It's the soundtrack of my life for sure. It's the only constant that's been in my life. For the only people that have been in my life longer are my mom and dad, and then Dave Matthews Band is third. So I find that really to be cool, and it's a story that I hear often. This is the podcast about the fans of Dave Matthews Band. So each episode is a completely different fan talking about how they found this music and why in the world are they still listening to it, or why in the world did they latch onto it when there's so much music available now in 2026. So this episode is like all the rest. We have a guest on the show. I'm going to let him tell us who he is, where in the world are you from, or where do you live, and tell us something cool about you.
Hey, what's up, everybody? My name's David. I normally say I'm an alcoholic, but I don't have to say that right now. Currently live in Bend, Oregon, but I am definitely a nomad, gypsy by life. Lived all over the country, originally from the Midwest to northern Michigan. Last pit stop in life was 5 years in New England, and then I went over to the other coast. I guess an interesting thing, non-Dave related, I've been living in a truck camper for the last year and 3 months, so I can chase my favorite bands around the country.
Yes. That sounds like an amazing life, right? Just to chase music, and I know that keeps you. It's got to keep you like in a great mood, right? Do you find that?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, unless I'm like traveling
it's awesome.
In the mountains of the West. I don't like heights, and some of these mountains out here are big, and some of them don't have guardrails. I talk about it a lot, and I hate it. But I get on the other side because there's always a show over there that I need to get to. So yeah,
you gotta get to the show. But yeah, that would make me crazy. I have probably never drone out west because of that. Like, oh, no. I've seen too many movies where that's the situation. And, I think I'm a good driver, but like, I don't even trust myself enough to go up high with no guardrails. Like, no, that sounds terrible. Right? So I can't imagine driving a truck and then having like a camper behind it. That's intense.
Right. I mean, thank God mine's like in the back of my truck, like it's a truck camper, so it sits on it. But like if it gets windy or I get behind a semi, like it gets bad,
Yeah.
Rainy, snowy. Yeah, gets a little intense. So.
Well, I'm glad that you're chasing what makes you happy. There's so many people that are listening to this or watching this that would be like, dude, that's an amazing life. Like, chasing it, I love that, and what a great opportunity to do so. And this year, what a great opportunity to see Dave Matthews Band. I know that you're planning on seeing them a little bit this year, so we'll get to that, but like, take us back to the time wherever that you first heard of Dave Matthews Band. Do you remember first kind of hearing about them?
I was trying to think about that today. I don't think it was 91, but it was definitely early 90s. I remember they came onto the scene. I think my earliest, maybe not listening to them, but earliest kind of memory, I was, growing up in Michigan, and they were playing somewhere in Detroit or maybe at the Palace of Auburn Hills, and I was invited to go see them. And this is right around the time I think Under the Table was dropping, or right before it.
Hell yeah.
And I kick myself in the face to this day. I didn't go because at the time what my adolescent self loved was hockey. So I skipped out a free ticket of Dave Matthews Band to go to hockey camp, and I suck at hockey. But so I can't be mad at myself, for not going. because I just didn't, I didn't know at the time, but I do
You didn't know
remember
what you didn't know.
it was right, like hockey camp, Dave Matthews. I'm going to hockey camp, dude.
Hockey camp, obviously.
Right. So, 43-year-old David would probably smack the shit out of like 11, 12-year-old David, but like you go. But
Yeah.
I don't like being told what to do.
Not the same choice you'd be making now.
But yeah, I would totally be like, you should go to that, dude. But, that's not what I did. But, definitely early 90s. And yeah, they've always been there, always got hooked.
Yeah,
like, what is that sound? So, yeah.
Did you hear them on the radio? Is that where you think you kind of like got exposure to them? Because I
believe so. I think so, but also,
come to the late 90s.
Radio and definitely my older brother, like he would be the one to kind of introduce me to bands, right? Like he introduced me to Widespread and other bands that I would normally not know of because I didn't know. You don't know what you don't know. So
sure,
definitely my brother.
Yeah.
So
yeah. So you hear their music. What was it that kind of caught you about them that actually started for you being a fan and really kind of wanting to pursue this band? And I know we all pursue it in different ways, whether that's, there's fans of all different kinds. And I truly believe that you can be a fan and never have walked into a live show because we have so much recorded and available on YouTube and Couch Tour and all these different ways that you can see them. So you can be a big fan and never go to a show. But that's, everybody has a different path in how they've kind of been in a relationship with this band, if you will. So like, what does that look like for you? Like you found them, you're aware of them, you're like, okay, keep going. Tell us, like, what is it that gets you to where you are now?
So like I said, when I had introduced myself, I'm like, all right, so there was that part of my life where I was like, a heavy drinker and my early years, very young adolescence where I started smoking a lot. And I remember like in high school, like maybe middle school into high school, and I would listen to Dave and I'd be high and I'd be like, whoa, dude, like some of the times they do like an intro to like two-step or minarets. And I would get that lost in that build up to the beginning of the song, right? I'm like, man, it's so trippy, dude. And then, moving into high school and you get like Live at Luther College or Listener Supported, and that would be either the background of a house party or that would be what we're doing, right? We're just going to drink profusely and smoke a lot and then listen to Dave, right? Yeah. And like where I grew up, Northern Michigan, like all the preppy popular kids, there was like this Dave Matthews obsession, right? And so like, I think in high school, all throughout, there was just like, well, I want to be cool like the preppy kids, so I'll listen to Dave too. But then, like I said, I would get kind of like lost in it when I would get that, that buzz or whatever that is going on, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So like that's, that's really when I started listening to it hard, was in my high school years. So that would be like late 90s, early 2000s, going into college. But I never made it to
a
show.
What a time, though.
Right. Yeah. What a good thing to listen to. And like, it was great. So you said that this year is 35 years for them, right?
Yeah.
June, this month marks 25 years since I graduated high school, and our class song was The Best of What's Around. So like every time I'm at a show now and I hear Boa come on, I'm all like, oh, class 2001, what's up, guys?
Right.
So I'm really stoked for this season for Boa to show up so I can be like, hey guys, happy 25, so yeah.
Still chasing it.
Like that's still going, I remember my buddy though from high school was like, I don't know why we picked this song, it doesn't make any sense. And then I sit around at work nowadays and I listen to it, I'm like, how does it not make sense, dude? Like those lyrics they make sense, dude. It's not about like, how's it even go? It's what matters, right? Who are you with is who it matters, right?
Yeah.
Like,
right.
So it makes total sense. I just don't think he was that big of a Dave fan, so he was pissed that that's what we chose. So
not everybody can understand, and not everybody is for Dave Matthews Band, and heck, Dave Matthews Band is not for everyone. And I get that. I totally get that. So, but how cool that like your history is definitely time marked with a Dave song. Like it takes you back. And that's a cool thing about this band, is it can do that for a lot of us, take us back to times where we may not even think about that yearly. Like how often does one think about their high school graduation when you're so far from that happening? Like I don't reflect on that really a lot, but it's cool that you have that memory. I definitely don't have the same graduation story. I think our class song was oh God, it was something sad, like, something sad. And so not something happy, which I'm like, yo, this is sad. This is exciting.
Right?
Like, let's fucking go. We're going to go use what we just and like do whatever we're going to do, and I don't know, it's crazy, but whatever. I'm excited for you. So like as we're growing up, right? We're getting through those early 20s. It sounds like maybe Dave kind of stayed in some kind of place for you. And it's often like that when I hear somebody that found him that long ago, that maybe Dave got shelved for a little while because life happens, right? And it gets busy and things become less important or just not as easily as accessible. Has there, like, going into young adulthood, did that change for you, or did that kind of stay a constant for you?
So like, moving into college years, early 20s, all that, like there would be like waves of, listening. How much would I listen, to the band? And it would be like, there'd be times where it'd be like 6 months off. Wouldn't even listen to one song. And then all of a sudden I'd hear a song and be like, ooh. And I get back into it, like obsess over it for like 3 months, right? And that's all I would listen to. And that's kind of how, like, from early 20s all the way up until just a couple of years ago was. Like, it was just like a rotation, like where they would kind of go out and whatever else would be there. And then it would flow back in. Like, I'm a huge fan of white boy reggae. So right around late 20s, beginning of my 30s, that's where that kind of kicked in. And it's just fun to play disc golf too. Ski, so there was... But they've always been, if not a constant, they're always there, right? Like they've always clicked back in within a calendar year, and then it's like, whoa, and crank it up, and then it goes back down until recently where it's like I'm listening at least every day. I think yesterday I didn't because I was like at a white boy reggae fest all weekend.
Yeah.
So I was still in the, vibe of that. And then today at work, I was like, I need some Dave, man. Like, let's go. Get
Today's
amped up for this
every
today,
day.
And then also what's coming up this weekend. So,
I'm so excited that you are finally recording this with me, or I am finally recording this with you. I'm so excited that we're finally here and that we're finally doing this. And based on the conversation that we had before recording, I know that this year is an exciting year for you, and we're going to talk about that. So let's kind of go from where you were a fan. What was it that finally hit you from like, dude, I gotta start seeing this, and brought you to the level where you were like, I need more than one show a year?
Right. So I guess let's go back really quick. So 2012 at Mile High Music Fest in Denver, Dick's Sporting Good Complex. That was my first show ever with the band. Maybe like my 7th concert ever. Like, it was just never a part of my life because, like, I was an active alcoholic for so many years. So it's like, I can't go to a show because A, I don't have money. 2, how do I get there? 3, how can I sustain a drink the whole time? And then how do I get home? Right. So.
Right.
And then I saw him again in, I think, 2014 in Clarkston, Michigan. And, I was in a gray out. I remember just pieces of that night. Mm-hmm. And then 2 years ago, the 24 season, it was the 23 season. I heard they were playing at SPAC close to Burlington, Vermont. And I didn't go because I didn't have anybody to go. And I met one of my really good friends, and she was all like, dude, why don't you just go by yourself? And they were already gone, like the show was already done. So I was like, okay, 24, let's go to SPAC together both nights. And she was like, I'll do one night, but let's make it happen. And the Thursday before the show down there at SPAC in 20, I think it was like the 5th and the 6th that year. It's like literally right after the 4th of July. But I called her up on Thursday and she's like, oh, we're not making it anymore. And I'm like, dude, like, come on, man. What? So I like talked about it. I went to some meetings and asked people. And I asked for some direction that night. I woke up the next morning and nothing said don't go. So I went to SPAC 24 Friday by myself. And if you've been to SPAC, you know what I'm talking about. That place is chaotic. On the lawn.
It is.
Had like a minor freak out right when I started. I'm like, this is too much. And I'm sober, right? I'm 501 days sober. So I have a little bit of time put together. Wow. And I wanted to drink right off the bat. And I was like, and then my program kicked in and I stayed and I had a blast both days. And then I was hooked. And I went into Farm Aid that year. back to SPAC. I saw like 6 more shows, and then I went down to the MSG shows to end the fall tour by myself. Walked all over the place, stayed in a hostel,
Awesome.
went to all 3 nights, and I'm like, I'm hooked now, you know. And
Yeah.
that was the start of this last, 2.5 years. So in 24, I'd seen Dave twice. Night 3 at the Gorge will be 41 with the band, 42 total. So
Wow.
last year was
That's a
insane.
lot.
This year's gearing up to be insane. In the one show at a time community, Yellow Balloon, we say don't count your shows, make your shows count. But like to go from 2 to number 41 at night 3 at the Gorge this year, God's grace, I can do this whole trip this summer. It's pretty spectacular.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's kind of obsessive, but whatever.
Hey, I think anybody that might be listening to this or watching this will be like, go do it. Like, catch it while you can, right? Because we don't know how much longer this band has. Like we've been saying, 35 years this year. Like it's amazing every year that the guys have just like wanted to stick with it. But we know, like based on interviews and just watching them in general, this is something that they love. This is what they want to do like their whole lives. Whether it looks like it does right now or whether it looks different in the future, the music is in these guys' blood, and they're never not going to be playing music. It's just what they're going to be doing for their whole life. So we're excited to be this far out and still have them around. It's super exciting. But like again, don't burn the day. You don't know what's
Right.
happening. You have no
Right.
idea what
It's
tomorrow
like,
holds or hell next in the next hour, right? So like for you to be able to really kind of take this time and really invest in yourself, honestly, because Dave is therapeutic to me. I don't know if you find that as well. A lot of people do feel that way, but you're about to get some therapy this year, man.
right. Yeah. No, like, like we were talking beforehand, and it's like, last year, I drove everything. I started in Vermont and, way up, like where I was living in Vermont, it's the closest, not the closest you can get to Canada, but, Burlington's the last big city before you hit to Canada and then go to Montreal. But like I went to Love and Life all the way down to Charlotte and went all the way back to Vermont. And then literally a week later, I went down to the Meriwether and the New Jersey shows. And then I went back up. And then I went right back
Wow.
down to Jones Beach, went back up. And then I went
Wow.
back down to Holmdel for like Dave left, and they were kind of off their tour in the
Yeah.
Northeast. But I was still traveling for other music. And I think I did 11,000 miles on the East Coast before SPAC even happened last year. Like,
What?
insanity, and I was like, I'm chasing it. And I found a job that was, allow me to work when I wasn't traveling. They got kind of fed
Mhm.
up of it once we really got into it, but like it all worked out, and it was
Yeah.
I almost wore that shirt. I almost wore the Love and Life shirt to be like, I was there. I was in Charlotte last year,
Right.
but
I say
um, I mean, I gotta represent my other bands too, like those up and comers, and there's
that's
there's
right.
they're so good too.
Well,
But
let's talk
Dave is
about that for a
definitely
minute. Like, who else are you digging right now? Like, who else do you listen to? I know you mentioned that you like reggae. I mean, tell us about your bands that you listen to.
so I like Goose. I'm not going crazy on Goose like some people have, but they're definitely
Yeah.
fun. Stick Figure for sure. Um,
Hell yeah.
OAR. Like OAR is kind of like one of
Yeah.
those early 90s bands or mid 90s bands. I actually saw them in Boston in 24. And they made a live album. So the first time and only time I've ever seen OAR,
Awesome.
they did their first live album in
What?
like something like 5 to 10 years. So or
Wow.
Dispatch, I saw Dispatch a couple of
Yeah.
times last year. Loved them. Got to see John Butler Trio when they played with Dispatch and
Dude,
Donovan
he
Frankenreiter.
blows my mind.
Like
He blows my mind.
like I saw 31 shows last year, so I had 18 with Dave and the boys, and then the rest was just filled with music festivals and travel and countless other bands. Like we had mentioned before the
Awesome.
show started, like I will see Chudesky Trucks Band again this summer, and Goose and OAR, and there's some other ones sitting in there as well. And then whatever pops up, like K Bong and Johnny Cosmic are playing in they're coming here to Bend. I'm in August before I go to the Gorge or after I come back. So like I saw the Elevators. They're from Massachusetts, but they did, a tour in now having
Yeah.
the Yellow Balloon group, it's like, other bands come through and they need the support, then we can fill in and be like, yeah, we'll
Mhm.
take over. Even if it was like we did Dogs in a Pile 3 weeks ago, and that's just kind of an up and coming band from
Dude, they're
Jersey.
so great.
Yeah,
So good. I
they're
just
really
recently
good.
caught on to
And
them. Yo, so
they're
good.
really good, and they're young and they're up and coming. And I got to meet
Yeah.
their lead guitarist slash singer, Jimmy. He just came up to the table. He's like, "Hey, man, we appreciate what you do," and we just had a quick conversation. And that's because a friend from another area was like, "Can you sit in on a table for us?" And I was like, "Yeah, dude. Like a show and be of some
Cool.
service, like let's do it."
Heck
So
yeah. Yeah, for sure. Well, I know you keep mentioning the yellow balloon, and I know that people are listening to this or watching and going, "What in the hell is he talking about?" So, tell us what it is that you are mentioning when you mention, like, the stickers and the balloon. What
yeah. So the Wharf Rats founded the Wharf Rats. They were the sober followers of the Grateful Dead. So they've been around for like 35 years. And then other bands, other groups have come up as an idea off of them. So anytime you see a yellow balloon or a yellow balloon table at a show or a festival, that is a sober safe space. And no, like
awesome.
us, so we just started a group here in Bend, Deschutes, Central Oregon. We're just Central Oregon Yellow Balloon Group. Right in our mission statement, it'll say that we're not affiliated with AA, NA, or any 12-step program. We're sober concert people that love live music and are here for
Yeah.
support in an otherwise slippery environment. So, we don't push anything on anybody. Like, if you show up and say, "Hey, I'm drinking, but I'm curious about not," cool, come hang out with
Yeah.
us. If you're tripping face, come sit with us, dude, and we'll do the best we can to mail you out.
Right.
So we don't care. People are like, "I'm Cali sober." And I'm like, I don't care, dude. You're at a show and you have
Right.
something going. You have some type of desire, man. And that's, I didn't go to shows for the longest time in my life because I couldn't, right? I didn't have the ability. So the yellow
Mhm.
balloon was a way to give back and also be a service while doing, what I love to do. So I got big stickers made and they're on both sides of my camper, the one to Dave at a time, and then also, my group, because it's important, and if people know and they
It
see
is
that in a
important.
parking lot, then they'll know this season that okay, that guy's sober and I can go hang out. So
That's
like,
right. That's incredible. It is a
you
safe
know,
space, right? Because I know a lot of people that have showed up and been nervous and just like, "I'm gonna feel out of place because I know everybody else is doing their thing." No. No, no,
yeah,
no, it's not that way. You can go up and get support and meet some really cool people along the way, right, that also enjoy the music that you love, so it is such a safe space and, easy to find, right? I'll have to start looking for that for sure. I'll be all eyes open, just looking for the yellow balloons now because the more you know, like, even if that's something that you don't necessarily need in your life, you never know what your friends are gonna need, and then you're gonna have that information to go, "Hey, man, like, check this out because this may be, like, the answer for you to get to another show of, whoever," but that's an amazing thing, and thank you for, like, making that part of your concert experience, not only for yourself, but just, like, for all the people that don't know, the people that need that, the people that are maybe just getting back to music after some time, and so thank you for doing that. It means a lot to a lot of people.
yeah. I mean, like this past weekend when we ran that table and it was our first big event, it was definitely my nest egg. Like my buddy was like, "Why don't we start a group, dude?" And being
Yeah.
single and no kids, and I have a lot of time on my hands, so I just kind of threw myself completely at that. And to see it come to life, and we ended up with like 14 volunteers and just a full weekend of hanging out and having a blast. And, it wasn't for the recognition. It was like, let's do something. And for the first time, I feel like in my adult life, and then also in my recovery, it's like instead of just coming up with this brainstorm great idea, it actually came to fruition and a reality, and it actually
Yeah.
happened. And it was like, this is incredible. And people are like, "Thank you." And I'm all like, "No, thank you. Like, this doesn't happen
Right.
unless you guys show up too." And then we build that. It was a welcoming booth. And we had a lot of people come up and that were sober, never knew it existed, or they were actually looking for this. And yeah, it was a great opportunity. I mean, it was and, that's what I do at shows too. So, I'll be in Minnesota on next Tuesday, and I love seating. So when I get to my seat, I I talk to those people around me and I say, hey, I'm sober. And
Mhm.
it's not to brag. It's me protecting myself out in the parking lot. I do the same
Yeah.
thing. When I was at Stick 2 years ago in Boston, these women sat down next to me and I said, I'm sober. And they're like, you cool if we smoke a J? I'm like, no, dude, I don't care. But then it turned out that one of the girl's cousins, like 2 years sober, but she hasn't gotten back to his show because she's too scared. So I got to take a selfie
Mhm.
with him, send it to her cousin to say, hey, this guy's here by himself having a blast. So it's like, you can do this. So it's like, even on my own
Yeah.
accord in the last 2 years, it's about spreading that message. And then, like last year at Jones Beach, I see this girl vibing, dancing the whole time. I'm like, I love it. Go buy a sticker from the merch booth, give it to her because of her vibe, mention my sobriety. And she's like, yeah, my husband has 22 years next month. And I'm like, what? So, like, those are the little, like, universe talking moments that I see at shows. Or I met somebody in New Hampshire and their husband is struggling, or whatever it may
Mhm.
be. And like that's how I find this journey with Dave doesn't happen if I'm not sober. So how do I intertwine the two? And they've totally intertwined,
Right. Right.
so, like,
That's amazing.
this 9K road trip in 40 days doesn't happen unless I'm sober, right?
That's right,
So
right.
they're
Well, let's talk about that 9K road trip that's coming up this year. I'm
yeah,
excited because, like, this is one thing about your story that I have already talked to you about. So let's kick it off. Let's talk about what your road trip looks like this year because you haven't seen a show yet this year, and again, that's totally cool. I'm sure you've been, like,
I
catching up on the
haven't.
internet or whatever, but, like, you are hitting the road this year, and it sounds like you're just doing everything, and so let's go one by one. Tell us what you're doing, and have
All
you ever
right.
been there?
Yeah, that's the other kick too, right? I love that on the hub, right? You can see where you rank, and there's like what, 290K of us? Right now I'm in the 4.9%
Yeah.
of a state's scene. And I'm like, whoa, dude. So yeah, Sunday, it's Tuesday. Sunday I take off for the Shakopee shows in Minnesota.
Yes.
Never been. So that's stop one. And then I go right to
That's gonna
Kansas
be a
City.
cool one because
Yeah.
Dave is literally opening that venue. It's gonna be
Are they?
amazing. I think the day before there's like a local like soft opening or if you will, but then Dave is the first official show to be
Is
hired
it?
on for that amphitheater. It is. And that's another reason to
Okay.
be so excited about that show is Dave is the first one. He's like breaking it in, and I'm excited that we get to
Oh
be the
yeah.
fans that also get to help break in the seats and the lawn and all all the things.
I didn't know that. So that's the problem, right? Because I was all like, where do I get the ticket, right? Because when I'm on Ticketmaster, like
Right,
it's me, right? So I scan seats, I
right.
click it. I've learned, I think it's because my first show was at SPAC, and I'm like, lawn, SPAC, no. Like, and I don't like
No
heights,
way.
so I don't do the upper part pavilion, right? So like I'm like seating.
Right.
And I'm looking, I'm scanning, I found something 101. Like it's down low, flanked right, whatever. I'm on the side with the horns, like awesome.
Mhm.
But I'm close. I didn't know that was. And so I was looking for view
Yeah,
my
something
seat,
else to
right? Like I love that because I could be like, view my
yeah.
seat. Nope. Nope. But so that's phenomenal. I'm really excited. Um, it's been years since I've been to the Twin Cities, so to go back there and then it's the first stop. I almost skipped it, and then I was like, that's dumb. Like it's like I think a 1,800-mile trip from Bend, Oregon to Shakopee, and I'm gonna. Right now, the idea is I leave Sunday at noon, try to maybe get to Boise or Salt Lake, and then do a big push on Monday so I can kind of kick back a little bit on Tuesday before the show. So, but we'll see. I don't know.
Yes, yeah.
So,
So after Minnesota, you're going down where?
yep. So, I'll let everybody get out ahead of me and then hit the road south to Kansas City to Morton. And that'll be my
Kansas
first
City.
ever pit. So, and I'm gonna be tired,
Dude, I'm so excited
like,
for you.
yeah, I'm stoked. So I think it's 490 miles. It's a 6-hour drive. So that's about what kind of like the Forum to Mountain View was last year, and that was fine. I got there
Mm,
6 hours early,
dang.
so it's not.
You were ready
But
though.
I didn't tell you that story, and I think because I met Dave last year in the wild pre-show
Let's talk
at
about
Mountain
that.
View.
Yes.
You want to hear about that one?
What? Yeah, I
Yeah.
think everybody that's listening wants to hear this.
Yeah, that was weird too because I like instantly after it happened put it up on the Gorge Crew community, and by the time I got to the
Uh-huh.
Gorge, people were like, "Dude, I know you," and I'm like, "What?" Because of that moment.
Yes.
All right, so quick, let's divert really quick. So you don't. So
Please.
last year I did SPAC, New Hampshire, Camden, and then I had tickets for Tahoe and the Gorge. And I went back home to Michigan for like 3 weeks, and then I took off. I had like 3 weeks before the Gorge, but I was like let's do national parks and all this. But I just see my buddy in Michigan, and he's been seeing Dave for years, and I think he's like maybe 12, 13 shows, something like that with him. He's like, so let
Yeah.
me get this straight. Before this year, I'd seen him more times than you. And I was all like, yeah, until this year, dude. Sorry. So he
Yeah.
came into my mind about mid Nebraska. And then this other intuitive thought came into my mind. And it's like, why am I skipping out on the Forum in Mountain View? Like, I'm already going to be out here. So why don't I make this just a 12 show straight run starting at SPAC? So I
Right.
diverted and I did a little traveling in Utah, found a ticket for, the Forum show, hung out in SoCal, whatever. Went to that
Mhm.
show. It was phenomenal. Scored a floor seat like literally 5 minutes before show started. That was great. And then left there, drove past LA into the Central Valley, stopped somewhere for the night, woke up, and I'm like, do I really need to drive to Mountain View? I just need to get to Tahoe. And I'm like, you're dumb. Go. So I found a ticket while I'm driving up the 5 to the show that day and got to the venue like 6 hours early. It was super windy. Called my buddy from the crew. He was busy. And I'm like, what do I do? So I took a walk, which I never do, and I'm outside the venue and I look up and I'm like, holy shit, Dave Matthews. And
So
he
you're
was
just
taking
walking
a
around the venue?
yeah, he was out like, exercising. He had like shorts on with his knee
Okay, yeah, yeah,
brace,
yeah.
doing whatever he's doing, pre-show. And I was like,
Yeah.
what the fuck, dude? And just, I think the only thing I really said is I've been chasing you all over the country this year. I'm going to Tahoe and the Gorge. His response was, I'm looking forward to the Gorge. And then I was like, can I get a picture with you? And he's like, yeah, man. So, I'm getting the phone set up for a picture together and the camera's pointing to the sky. And I'm like, hold on, like jittering,
Oh,
gotta
no.
reverse, get it back, pointed towards us. And he's like, yeah, there you go, man. And I'm like, so I snapped off 2 quick photos, said thanks. He was like, have a great show. He took off one way, I went the other. And then I'm like, what just happened? So, like, I totally put that
Yes.
with my recovery, having that intuitive thought back in Nebraska, listening to it, staying the course, and then that happened. And then that night I saw Rab for the third time last season, told him about it, got a picture with him, posted that,
Awesome.
and then the next morning I see Rab had actually responded to my post. And he's like, I came back looking for you and I couldn't find you. I'm like, what? And then I didn't see him the rest of the
What?
season. But like I said,
No.
my buddy is he's part of the crew, and I don't know if I'm allowed to say. I've talked about it. Anyways, I was able to in Tahoe help with marking on stage. It wasn't loading,
Awesome.
so it was like this 48-hour, 72-hour, whatever it was, like time frame. I see Dave, see Rab do that. Spent like 2 days in Tahoe where I used to live, all before the gorge. And I'm like, I guess I don't need to go to the gorge. And I still went. And I'm like, so glad I did. The gorge is phenomenal. So
Yes.
that was,
Yeah.
I got to meet Dave. And people are
Dude,
like, I guess
so
you're
many
not
people
chasing
wish
him
they had
anymore. And
that.
I'm like, now I'm definitely chasing even harder, dude. Like,
Yeah.
so. I have
Yeah.
a picture. I'll have to send it to you. Yeah, I was straight cheesing. I
Yeah,
was
I'll put
like,
that
whoa.
up.
And then after it happened, I was making my own vlog, which I've restarted again, and I recorded what had just happened. I'm so glad I did because I could see the excitement. I can't replicate how I felt, but if
Yeah.
I watch the
No,
video, I'm like, whoa, dude. And it gives me chills. I'm all
that
like
was intense.
crazy. So that's my
I
I got to meet Dave story.
Not
Yeah,
everybody gets to, so I
no,
say if you
exactly.
get to do it, then, like, it happened so organically, right? Like, it wasn't like
Right.
you were
It
out
wasn't it
trying
wasn't
to
forced.
find him, it just happened.
I just took a walk, and I listened to
Yeah.
a thought. 2,000 miles prior. So
Yes. You're so
it was
glad you went
it
there.
was cool. And then they
It was a
do,
great
before these
show
credits.
too.
It was a phenomenal show. And it was my only show on the lawn of 18 shows last season. And I had a blast. Like,
Oh my
found some cool people. I was like, can I sit down with you guys? I'm by myself. I didn't have a blanket. They're like, yeah, dude, you're good. And then the people behind me are like,
oh,
are you going to stand up the whole show? And I'm like, yeah, that's what I
yeah.
do. I don't sit down,
That's what
dude,
we're here
unless I'm
for,
in
people.
Camden and it's 98 with no air and I'm dying of heat
Yeah.
exhaustion. But,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know, but yeah, it was a great lead.
That's
And, they were
that's
building
amazing.
up to the gorge, like ramping.
Yeah.
So,
And how
yeah,
cool that
it's
you were there. 2025 is in a historical year now for the Gorge. I mean, many great things have happened at the Gorge. Specifically, I'll tell you the Gorge I wish I was at 2013 when they reopened Crazy Easy. And then just shut the
yeah,
book back and it's never been open again. But I wish I was there. Gorge always gets such treats, but it's also because you get so much time with them, right? 3 nights. It's never the same set list. And so the potential there for getting a lot of songs in that time period is great. And so you never know what you're going to hear. And of course, y'all never knew that they were going to play an album, front to back. And how exciting that was. And just even, I wasn't there, but just hearing people talk about it and the way they felt when they thought it was happening and then the way they felt when they knew it was happening and just all of that and it had never been done before. There was so many people that just were losing their mind, but we were also losing our mind at home.
right. Yeah, I had no idea. I mean, sometimes I love the hub and then sometimes I hate it because I'm doing the set list game, right? And it's telling me what's going on.
Mhm.
And they're doing just, a sick intro to something. And I have no idea what is going to come in. And then the hub tells me, and I'm like, son of a bitch, dude,
Yeah.
like, but,
Yeah.
it's going. And then I look down because, I like giving back, right? I love being of service and being fortunate enough to see so many shows in a single season for the last 2 years. I'll do the couch tour, and I'll live stream.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So my phone goes off because I'm not feeling somebody's liking something, and I look down and somebody says, "Dude, they're playing Before These Crowded Streets in Order." And at that point, we were on whatever we were. I don't even know what it was. I got this dude next to me, and during that show, his wife and kids are behind us, and the buzz starts to happen, and that's where I was like, "Whoa, okay." So, because I want selfishly, I want to hear the last stop as the last song of the weekend, but it has to happen on Saturday night,
Right.
right? So, but I mean, that was incredible, to start with Watchtower and then get 41 and then get the whole album and then more.
Hold up.
You listen to that
Yeah.
album, that was a huge show. And it was only Saturday
Yeah.
night, So
Yeah.
I did predict, just not in the right spot, that that they would bring out American Baby, and they did it, night 3. And
American
I was
Baby
like,
intro and then American Baby,
dude.
it all, was that the show that happened where they gave you both? Because there was one show
Yeah,
that
it
they
went.
did American Baby intro and then American Baby, and I was like, "Yeah, it's all happening."
They did. It was night 3 of the Gorge last year, and they went ABI right into American Baby, and it was what, that
Oh my god.
11.2-year liberation.
Oh my gosh.
And that's just it. When I went to and saw them in SPAC 2 years ago, of course I'm going off of what I want to hear. I want to hear minarets, dude. I want to hear two step. I want to hear Jimmy. I want to hear Trippin', those bangers. And I don't
Yeah.
have the understanding yet of the rarities, right? And a drunken
Mhm.
soldier. To be at Jones Beach last year and not
Mm.
understand the significance of opening a show with Drunken Soldier. And now it's one of my favorite songs. It's not a star, it's a satellite. Just the ending, the beginning of the song and the ending of the song.
Yeah.
I'm like, "Ugh, dude." And then when they opened with it in Brooklyn, I'm like, fuckers. And it's only the
Right.
third time
They
ever.
did it again this year.
So that's where I'm
Those
now
guys.
in my
I mean,
and they haven't broke two-step yet this year. So, and now the next show is I'm at. So,
and
where is
maybe
it,
it's gonna
guys?
wait, so you're telling me right now maybe I didn't catch this, they haven't played two-step yet?
I don't think so. I haven't seen
Oh
it.
my
I mean, it's correct.
gosh,
Somebody
how could
correct
I
me
have
if I'm
missed that?
wrong, but I don't think they
Wow. Oh,
played two-step yet
they
this
will,
year.
but we'll never hear them.
Right? So, I mean, thankfully for me, I have of the remaining shows on the tour, ending at the Gorge, I have all of them in hand except for Fiddlers and Jones Beach. So that's what I have in front of me. Like, I got a lot.
Crazy. Crazy. You're gonna
Yeah,
get a lot of things, right? A lot of things you didn't
right.
even know you wanted to hear, and you're like, "Hey, man, that
Yeah.
was everything."
And that now that he
It's
just
gonna be
played
great.
beach ball, I'm like, cool, dude. How about Sugar
Dude,
Will?
and they
Like,
just played
that's
that.
I know, that's what I'm saying. Like,
Oh,
they're breaking out so much shit that I'm like, well,
so
I
exciting.
really want Sugar Will. I was chasing that last year and they didn't do it.
Such a great
And
city.
now that I
It's
heard
got such a
American
groove
Baby,
in it. Like,
but
I love it.
like they've really ramped up American Baby. Like, not to sound like an ass, but like night 3 at the Gorge last year in my ears, like it was great to hear it,
Mhm.
but it felt flat because they hadn't probably rehearsed it or much, or they
Oh,
hadn't
yeah.
played it in 11 years. And now they like hearing recordings from this year, and anytime they play it, I'm like, there it is. Like
Yeah.
it's ramping back into set list.
Thank you. Thank you
So
for doing it, Dave Matthews
that's
Band.
how I hear it. I'm like, I'm great to hear it and so fortunate and grateful, but like, it just didn't feel, I don't know. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
So,
this band has so many, songs in their catalog, and so that gives them a lot of flexibility to just pull stuff out randomly, and they do that. But this year, it's cool to see that on the 35th anniversary that they're pulling out stuff that we've been begging for and that they just haven't done. So,
yeah.
I'm so optimistic about the rest of what you're gonna see. Of course, you're on the road way more than I will be this year. And so you're gonna see stuff that I wish I would have seen. So I'm gonna live vicariously through you and like watch like, oh
Uh,
my God, I can't believe you got this tonight. It's so cool that you're gonna get to do so many shows. Have you ever been to Kansas City before?
I've not. So, this year, I didn't know that about Mystic Lake. So that brand new venue, right? Never been there,
Mhm,
never
mhm.
been to Kansas City. I've never been to Deer Creek. The Grand Rapids
What?
shows. Nah, I've never been to Deer Creek. So,
It's one of the
yeah, it's like
meccas, right?
my first 4 shows, no, hold on, first 5 are all brand new stops for me, and then
Awesome.
Michigan is a brand new and Grand Rapids is a brand new amphitheater as well. So,
Wow.
those first
There's
5
so
are
many
all
new
yeah.
So many new ones, and speaking of new ones, Kansas City is also a brand new
Is
venue.
it?
So
Oh,
Dave Matthews Band isn't breaking it in like he is in Minnesota, but Morton Amphitheater, which is what it's called from Morton Salt Company, which that didn't ring a bell until I started seeing people's swag, and then I was like, oh, like the salt girl with the umbrella, like I got it, and it's all funny now. But they just opened this month in June, so again, brand new venue. So, not only are you hitting that city for the first time, you're also getting one of the first couple of shows at that amphitheater as well too. So, I mean,
right.
you've got a cool ride ahead.
Yeah, yeah, and then like after Michigan, then it's like the classics. Not that I've been to these things many a times. Like last year, Guilford was my first time there. Camden was my first time there. But like SPAC is like turning into my home venue. Because it'd be 3 in
Yeah.
a row now, and it's all the 2-night stands. But it's like after Michigan, then it's Jersey, Guilford, SPAC, which is it's different. They're going like up and around counterclockwise, where last year was a clockwise rotation with them. So, but I get to go
Yeah.
back to Vermont for a week unless I can't sell my tickets, then I'm going to, Darien Lake and Burgettstown. It's just a matter,
Gosh
do I want
darn
to
it,
be
you'll have to go
selfish
to
and
more.
right, like more is all like, and then how do I put Jones in there? Because if I put Jones in there, then I get to go on a 16 consecutive show run.
That's pretty
But
fun though.
driving to Jones sucks. Like you literally have to go in
It does.
Manhattan area, and the
Yeah.
95 corridor is the worst corridor in all of the United States, in my opinion. And I've seen a lot
Well,
from
and
the
I've heard Dave
last
say it. I've only been to Jones Beach once in 23, and even Dave himself stood on stage and was like, "I love this place, but I hate getting to it," right? Because it's
oh,
like one way in, one way out, and there's
yep.
thousands of people, but it's one of those venues that when someone says, "Name one of your favorite venues," for me, a girl from Arkansas, like, it's so cool to go to a venue where I can also see boats in the water, and it's an incredible feeling. You and your family or whoever can hang out at the beach and then just show up to the show, and like it's so different than most places I've ever been to. So it's really cool, but also it is really challenging to get back home after the show.
It is. And like But the way it's set up too, how it sits on the lagoon, and then the ocean's right there. And last year at Jones was one of the
Yeah.
super moons. And like I was lower, I wasn't up in the grandstands, but the people back there
Uh-huh.
told me that as the band was playing, the moon was rising behind the grandstand. And by the time the
What?
show got out and I finally saw it, I looked up, I'm like, whoa, dude, like it was a spotlight in the sky. So
Oh my
it was a
gosh.
magical night.
Magical. Yeah.
We had fish tender, like big eye fish,
Always a
right?
good
Like, it
combo.
was just like, dude,
Yeah,
what
yeah.
a
Oh, yeah.
show, And that's where they had liberated Two Step last year for last year's tour. It was at Jones, and that was the first time I'd ever heard it, and I was like, dude. And it was a sick
Right.
intro by Stefan. It was like, dude, what is going on? So
Yeah.
I get excited, and like the big thing for me last year is with all the shows I did, namely with Dave, but like I did a lot as well. And one of my old roommate who was also sober, he was all like, so dude, shows aren't forever, right? Like you have 3 hours max, right, per show. And you have a
Yeah.
lot of them. How do you stay in the moment? And that was his challenge for me. And sometimes it was hard because like if I'm not in a good headspace mentally, one show, then I'll be like, well, I'm there again tomorrow night. So it's a wash, right?
Mhm.
Whatever. I still have my moments. But the problem was is I started getting
Right.
ahead of myself, and then I see my phone wallet and my tickets, they're dwindling, and I'm like, now it's getting depressing. Why didn't I throw my time? So this year, having last year's experience, it's like, okay, stay in the day. It's not about tomorrow. It's not about, the day and a half road
Right.
trip. It's stay in this moment like my program of recovery teaches me to
Mhm.
do, right? So that's my
Mhm.
focus this year, to really be in the now each show.
Yes.
Like, cool. Like I'll have
Yeah.
Missouri the next night, but I need to be in
But don't
Minnesota.
rush it.
Like I
Yeah.
don't
You
want to
gotta
rush
be
it
in
because I know it's
Minnesota
gonna
while you're
fly,
in Minnesota. It will.
so,
Yeah.
you know, and that's the problem
Yeah.
too. People are
That's
like,
such
I see
great
him
advice.
like I see him once a year, and I'm all like, I know I get to see him a lot, but I need to stay where there I am, there I go, or where I am, there I am, right, or however that goes. But
Yes.
so
Yeah. Yeah,
that's
I
gonna
get it,
be
and, like, for me and, again, this is just, like, my personal journey, like, I'm able to really pull something out of each night that I hear them, and it's usually something completely different, like, maybe there'll be a song that's played that I didn't even, like, have on my radar because there are so many songs, and they'll play it, and, that'll put me into, like, a thinking mode of, like, whatever that was about, and so like, I do believe that, like, you're able to get something from each show, and so staying present and focusing on what is the message that they're trying to give me, because I can guarantee you Dave is trying to, like, throw some stuff in there, like, "Hey, think about this," or, "Hey, don't burn the day," whatever it is, but, there's always some teaching moments, which may sound crazy if you're listening to this, but, like, not for me. My personal journey has been I've always received so much from music, and it's able to put my mind in a different place, where I can receive, that message. And so music's been such a powerful tool for me. And I know, obviously it has been for you. I've just found so much comfort in it. And then, as our fanhood grows with this band, which we've invested so much of our time and lives in, it's just such a great, comfortable space. And I'm just, so thankful. And I'm thankful to meet people like you that are still so engaged in the community and are doing things as fans that, like, again, just blow me away. And, it's kind of my whole deal to listen to different Dave fans tell, what their journey is. And I'm always just so delighted when, their journey, intersects with also like helping people, just embracing people and meeting them where they are and what they need. And that just brings it to a whole nother level of like, I didn't just go to a concert. I went to a concert, but I was also able to do all of these things inside of that day too. And so it's just, it's an amazing thing. And I know that you can understand that because it sounds like you're getting a lot of that from all of this as well. Otherwise, you would not be doing this, right? You would not be
right.
on the road.
Yeah. I mean,
It's yeah.
I came to Bend after the gorge, and my whole idea was to go south. Like I was gonna stay on the West Coast because I wanted to, be close to other bands and whatever. I just wanted to be out west. But so I came to the community of Bend, Oregon, and I got involved in this, certain program that helps keep me sober. I meet all these great people, and like I didn't give myself a nickname, but I talk about Dave Matthews Band so much in my shares every day that most people have given me the moniker on their phone of Dave Matthews David. And now everybody's like, when are you leaving? And when are you coming back? How are you leaving us for? And I'm like, it's only 40 days, dude. Like, I'll be back, I
Only
promise.
one day.
And then I'll
Yeah,
be
it's like
gone
that.
again for the gorge. But like it to get that moniker is kind of funny to me because I'm like, that's great. Like I've given myself monikers and nicknames in the past that I thought were funny. They were just ridiculous. And it'd be like, okay, like, because, I have C cup and I has my license plate. And then, like my
Uh-huh.
whole truck is nothing but Dave, like
Right.
obsessed. Like it's, like the little Miss Obsessed stickers you see.
Yeah.
I'm like, can we
Yes.
little Mr. Obsessed? I don't
Mr.
know. But
Obsessed?
yeah,
'Cause it goes both ways. Yeah.
it's, yeah, it's funny. I don't know.
Yeah, well, that's
Um,
not a bad thing to be.
I did want to share one other thing with you because I think maybe we're getting close. But like, so because I'm looking on your wall and I see last year's, pendant, and I see is
Yeah.
that Fenway or is that Golden Gate? I know that
That's
poster.
Golden Gate. Yeah,
Yeah, I
that's
love that
Golden
album.
I do too.
But
Santana, just like, oh,
yeah,
I love Santana so
Sugar Will.
much, and
That's the
I
that's
wasn't
the
there,
rendition.
but I wish.
Right.
Yes.
That's the rendition of Sugar Will that gets me just. But so I
So
lost my brother and our family. We lost my sister-in-law way back in the early 2000s. And any time that I
mm,
would hear Stolen Away, like I would think of her, right?
yeah.
And then 4 years ago, Cinco de Mayo, my mom passed away. And then when my ex, she lost her oldest. So like there's been some loss. So when I was at
Yes.
shows and I started doing this, I would pray before I went in, just to ask for help so I wouldn't drink or drug. But
Yep.
then about mid-season or beginning of last year, I would actually pray and invite like my mom and Andrea and Marcus and Tom, like all these people that I've lost along the way to come in and feel the music with me. It was
Mhm.
a powerful tool I was using. And then I was at MSG shows and I heard Stolen Away. And then I was at SPAC last year and heard Stolen Away. So every time that song comes in, I'm like, hey, mom, what's up? Or hey, Dre, what's up?
Yeah.
Like that's the song of Dave Matthews that has some powerfulness to it, right? Like I think they played it
Yeah.
actually at Mountain View. Maybe not. I don't know. But like I heard it
It's
a
hard to
few
remember.
times last year and I was like, all right. I had that moment where like it's like, okay, I see you and I can feel you. And I don't do it at every show
Mhm.
anymore. At one point I was doing it at every show and I don't. I do it when the mood and whatever song is being played and it feels and I can feel it. And like
Yeah.
when we
I
started
I do.
this, I would talk about how I would drink and drug at parties in high school and I would feel the music. Now, like being sober, feel the music tenfold. And there's been
Mhm.
shows where I've cried, like just like
Mm.
because I can feel it, and I'm like, that's what it's all about. And that's the chase, right? Like that's why I chase. I
Yes.
want to
That
feel again.
feeling.
So,
Yeah.
like high as with nothing in
Yeah.
my system except for a
That's
lot of
right.
Red
High on
Bull,
life, man.
So I wanted to mention that, like, I don't bring those people up because of a pity thing. I bring it up because this band helps me to process grief. Like
Mhm.
I had a moment when I was leaving Charlotte last year after Love and Life, and I had my second spiritual experience, and it was my mom's third-year anniversary, and I cried like profusely at a rest stop in full view of people, and I was like, "No, dude, don't swallow it, feel it." It was
Mhm.
literally after a
Mhm.
Dave show, 2,000-mile road trip for a 2-hour set. Like that's the insanity. People are like, you should maybe do like some 12 steps around Dave Matthews Band. That's the ongoing joke right now. And I'm like, yeah. People are like, there's worse things to spend your money obsess over. And I'm like, yeah, but my pocketbook will tell you otherwise.
Mhm.
My creditors might tell you otherwise, but this is my midlife crisis, right? To live in a truck camper, travel 26K last year, now this year going all the way back to the east and all the way back to the west. Like I'm gonna turn 44 midlife crisis. So,
I get it.
and
If that's what this
no
is, then
better,
that's what this is.
I think every Dave fan I've met on TikTok or Facebook or whatever, and they see what last year was or what this year is, they're like, I wish I could do it. And my response
Mhm.
is, then do it.
Do it. Do
Like they're
it.
not gonna be around forever. Like
No.
just just do it. Pack your kid in, buy a van
Yes.
and do it.
Yes. Or rent a
or
van, borrow a van, do something.
right, or take my number, dude, and I'll FaceTime you at shows. I do that too. I FaceTime my
Mm.
sponsor, my sponsee, my friends. I'm gonna get on Zoom calls, actually in Missouri, when
Yeah.
Bend is doing a Zoom hybrid meeting, and
Awesome.
and just give them about 3 seconds from the pit because I don't want to be distracting. But I'm gonna be like, in the pit,
This is what it's
like
all about.
this is where I'm at, guys. So like, yeah, it's a blessed life, and like I don't take it for granted.
Yeah.
I'm just glad I found something that I'm truly passionate about and have fun.
Yeah.
So
A lot of
yeah,
people don't have that, even just that one thing that they're passionate about, and so, whatever it is, it's a beautiful thing, and I'm glad that you found this, and I'm so thankful to hear your journey, and I know a lot of people that are listening to this can identify in that. I know that, and so thank you for sharing. It's,
yeah,
this story that you tell is literally, not for me, it's for all of the people that are gonna listen and watch this and use this maybe as a tool themselves, just to be aware of like, hey, there are some resources out there for me that can, help do this. And so thank you so much for sharing. I can't wait to follow you on the road and hear, I'm the girl that wants to hear everybody's Dave story, right? Like,
yeah,
so like definitely follow up and go, hey man, this show was amazing, because I'll be like back home watching the set list and go, well, I always know one person that's going to be there through the rest of the season,
right.
and that's you, man. That's you.
Close.
Actually,
Not
I do
all of
know
them,
another lady
sadly,
that's
but
doing it.
and we're
There
gonna be at
no.
three of the same shows, four of the same shows. So
Yeah,
like
you
that's
you
cool.
never know. You never know,
Yeah,
'cause, I just pop in and out of places, and a lot of times just show up to a venue with no tickets and go, "Well, it'll all work out." Yeah, and I
yeah,
figure it out every time, like, it just happens, right?
exactly.
So, you never know where you're gonna see me, but I can guarantee, we're gonna see each other at a couple shows this year, and it'll be fun
Oh
to
yeah,
hang. So, I appreciate you coming on this show. I'm so glad that we have this in the books for you. It is documented and forever sealed and on the internet. So in 20 years, you can go back and revisit this and be like, cool, just like that's what I was doing. And I was so happy. And to get to revisit a very happy part of your life is cool. I think about that a lot. Like for those of you that haven't recorded this yet, what a great year to record it, because it is the 35th anniversary, but not also just it's not for other people. It's also for you to be able to visit in a few years when things get hard, or when things, whatever life has for us in the future. This will be a cool thing to go back to and just like feel the emotions that we have now, and also to just see reality like we do now. And so it's a cool, cool thing. And I appreciate you offering up to do this. I'm so thankful.
yeah. Thank you so much for having me. My perceptions changed on my own journey and how I want to approach this season. So, and like the yellow balloon thing, I showed you. Maybe I'll hold them up, but I made the
Yeah,
one
I see
David at
this.
time stickers for.
Just love it.
So, like, if you're sober, you don't have to be sober, but I try to reserve them for my sober friends at Dave's show. So if you see me out on the road, look for the big camper signs, and I should hopefully have a slap for you. If not, we can just chat some recovery if you want.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like
Absolutely.
that's the best thing about it.
Yeah.
It's a huge part of my journey. But I do really appreciate you having me on and linking up. And if you want to get on, guys, be patient. There's a busy lady right here, a one-man
Oh,
band,
I'm a team of
one
one.
woman band,
A
and
one
it
woman show.
exactly it'll happen when it's
Body
supposed to happen,
instantaneously. I don't know. I
right?
never know. You never know. That's like
Exactly.
the thing.
It'll happen when it's supposed to happen, right?
Somewhere in the
So
space between, it will happen.
exactly. There you go. There you go.
Well, guys, if
Love
you're
it.
listening to this or watching this and you do want to share your journey, and again, there's no type of journey that has to be, there's no application, there's no anything. You don't have to tell me anything about your journey. I like to be surprised when you tell me for the first time, but there is no prerequisites. If you've never been to a show, cool. I think you're just as much of a fan as everyone else. If you have been in and out with Dave your whole life, and, you're thinking about it now, dude, document your story. This is such an important story. And again, we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. Could this be the last year? Every year could be the last year, because we're not promised tomorrow. So you can send a email straight to the email that is listed on the screen right now if you're watching on YouTube. If you're listening via podcast app, just look in the description of this episode, and it will be listed there. So just send me an email. The next phase is just scheduling it, making sure it works for you, because of course I go out with the dates and times that you can do it. I can't just be like, it's only a Monday and Tuesday thing. Like, no, it doesn't work that way. So I definitely work with your schedule. And so I look forward to getting those emails from all of you that are going to do it right now. You don't even have to remember it. Just go back to the show notes later. And if you're on the road this year, definitely look for David. He's going to be somewhere. He's got his camper and the stickers and the cool hair. So you'll definitely spot him. Guys, if you are listening to this for the very first time, there's over 200 episodes. So, thank you so much for listening to this one. If you want to listen to another one, there is no right or wrong on how you listen to this. You can go to episode 50 and then 125 and then 200 and then back down to 2. And there's no wrong way to do it. Every episode is a different fan sharing their journey. So you can't go wrong. If you find one you don't love, that's cool. Just go to the next one. It'll be completely different. There's a wide range of fan stories. And I'm so proud that we are documenting this side of the band's history. It's so important to me and so important to all of you that have invested so much time into this band. But even those that have just found this music, I have friends that have just found it in the last couple of years. And, their stories are so incredible too. I invite you all on the show. But if not, subscribe and like to the YouTube channel and to the podcast so that you know when the next episode comes out. You never know who's going to be on the show next. It might be someone that you know. So it is always interesting. Guys, in the meantime, I'll see you on the road. Peace, love, and Dave Matthews Band.